so I got the transcripts. Mitch, we have to bring slavery back. Those were the good old days. Kevin, how will we do that? There's no way we can do that. Mitch, black people won't do it, but white people will. Kevin, how will we get white people to be slaves? That sounds ridiculous. Mitch, we have to get rid of the separation of church and state. We must have state-funded religious schools. Kevin, I don't see where you're getting at. Mitch, those schools will have work programs for 4th through 8th graders. Kevin, I think I see where you're going here. How is that going to work? Mitch, we get the kids to pick all the produce as a part of their work program to teach them the values of good old-fashioned blue-collar labor and the bounty of God. Kevin, I don't think that anyone will go for that. Mitch, it's all about grooming. Start in the 1st grade, and by 4th grade they'll be ready to do it. Kevin, but we already have people to pick the produce. Mitch, we have to finish the wall. Kevin, no way that's going to happen. Mitch, we find better ways to get the immigrants out of the United States. Kevin, like dumpling ice. Mitch, yes. Kevin, this will be too busy, too hard, and we'll be too busy trying to sustain this over long periods of time and generations. Mitch, no, we get rid of the abortion laws in the United States and we make it mandatory that all 8th grade females be impregnated in order to graduate. Kevin, oh, like replacing the crops. Ha ha ha, pun intended. Also, Kevin, I will work on getting the abortion ban.
What's up, welcome and welcome back to Charlie React. This video is shocking. So imagine waking up and seeing people online saying slavery is coming back, but this time it's hidden behind technology, immigration policies, and even AI. Sounds crazy, right? But right now videos are going viral where people are claiming that the United States is slowly rebreeding system that look a lot like modern day slavery. From AI replacing workers to migrants working for little or no pay. People are asking, are we really moving forward or just repeating history in a different form? Today we are going to break this down, react to what people are saying, and separate emotion from reality.
Trump is going to bring back slavery. Hear me out. So I kept asking the question, why would Trump make government contracts with prison companies to build large facilities to hold all these immigrants that he's planning on arresting if he was planning on deporting them? And then I had an epiphany. Slavery technically is illegal in America unless you're incarcerated. You can look up our amendments. Slavery is illegal unless you're incarcerated. This is why some of the states have already started to put legislation forward that if you're arrested for being an illegal immigrant, they can hold you for an indefinite amount of time. This creates a labor force for the country that's almost free. So he's going to take the workers that were already in the population, take them out of the population, and put them back to work for even less money. Just to be clear, I have no proof of this. This is just my hypothesis. I really hope that that's not the case, but that makes the most sense. Why else would you need to build so many housing facilities for prisoners if you were planning on deporting them all? And also, our government knows who picks all of our fruits and vegetables. They know who builds our roads. It's not legal citizens. The majority of them are not legal citizens. White people aren't sitting in the fields getting strawberries and grapes. It's just not the case. You know, I knew they were rolling back years of progress, but I really didn't think we were going to go back to slavery.
Did you know that slavery is still legal in these United States? Yes. Even after the night they drove old Dixie down, slavery is still 100% legal, with full constitutional support, even today, as I post this. But what about the Emancipation Proclamation? Well, people who pay attention to history know that old Abe's Emancipation Proclamation was more of a calculated wish for all the force of law it had. A hopeful mission statement. It was the 13th Amendment that actually outlawed slavery, with an asterisk. Let's take a look at the text. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Except as punishment for a crime. That little loophole was very convenient for former slave states after the Civil War. Many used this carve-out to effectively re-enslave black folks during the Jim Crow era. Even today, African Americans make up 37% of the U.S. prison population, despite only making up 13% of the national population. There are over 800,000 American slaves working in the U.S. prison system today. Over 4,100 companies profit from the use of American slaves. It's probably more, but there isn't a lot of transparency on this subject. Why is prison labor so popular with American companies? As writers Linda Evans and Eve Goldberg say, for private business, prison labor is like a pot of gold. No strikes, no union organizing, no health benefits, unemployment insurance, or workers' compensation to pay. No language barriers as in foreign countries. In 8 states, prison workers get zero compensation for their labor. As always, slaves work cheap. In the other 42 states, prison slaves are wage slaves, like the rest of us, but they earn way less, an average of between 13 and 52 cents an hour nationwide. At the same time, both prisons and American business profit big time from all this unpaid and barely paid labor. Estimates suggest that prison labor produces more than $2 billion in goods annually every year. Prison slaves also produce more than $9 billion in services for a lowball estimate of $11 billion annually. As the ACLU notes, incarcerated workers are under the complete control of their employers, and they have been stripped of even the most minimal protections against labor exploitation and abuse. Part of the reason for that is that prison unions were outlawed by the Supreme Court in 1977. Jones versus North Carolina Prisoners' Labor Union says that security needs in prisons outweigh prisoners' constitutional rights to speak, peaceably assemble, or petition to redress grievances. As George Washington University's Justice Journal notes, this contributes to the dominant attitude that American prisoners have no human rights. It's funny to me that we don't use words like slavery to describe this situation. The U.S. government owns almost 1 million slaves. American corporations profit from the renting of the labor of these slaves so that they don't have to hire Americans and pay them at least a minimum wage. That's messed up, don't you think? I'm going to say something controversial. I don't think the U.S. government should own slaves anymore. More than 150 years after the Civil War, unpaid or barely paid prison labor is an abomination. But the only way to change it would be another constitutional amendment, abolishing the 13th Amendment's loophole about prison slaves. A tall order in these divided times. Another reason I think we need a new American Constitution. Please give a like, follow, favorite, repost, and sign up for my Substack to have my posts sent directly to your inbox. Let's make them pay.
Slavery is back in America, and they are not even trying to hide it anymore. Trump's America in 2025 is housing migrant concentration camps, and it is about to get darker. Let me break this down for you. Trump's new camps in Florida are not just holding centers. They are a pipeline where migrants are going to start being handed out to farmers like tools. Let's just take a quick second and look at these holding centers. This is America. Hardworking people who have not committed any crimes are going to be held in these concentration camps until they are given to a farmer who is going to have, quote unquote, these are the exact words from the man himself,
owner responsibility, where they're going to be largely responsible for these people.
These people are going to be forced to work in whatever conditions the farmer deems acceptable, and if they have any problems with it, any grievances or any issues, you can go back to your concentration camp or you can get the fuck out the country. Slavery is officially back in 2025 Trump's America.
I just saw a clip of Donald Trump talking about how he's going to offer all of these U.S. farmers that have been here for 15 years that he would be normally deporting, which he is going to be deporting them, but he's now allowing them to come back and work for the farm owners and be owners of these people and take care of these people and have these people work for them and get benefits that non-citizens wouldn't get, but they still don't get citizenship. They're just here to work for people, to provide food for us. This sounds a little like something we've been through before.
So in these videos, the main argument is this. People believe that after slavery was abolished, systems didn't completely disappear. They just evolved. Now let's look at the first claim. AI is the new slavery. Some people argue that companies want machines to replace humans, so they don't have to pay workers, but there is reality. AI doesn't replace humans because of slavery history. It's about efficiency, profit, and technology advancement. Businesses always try to reduce cost. That doesn't mean it is slavery, but it doesn't raise really concerns about job loss and inequality. Now the second claim is cheaper or exploited labor. This is where things get more serious. There are situations where migrants or low-income workers are underpaid or treated unfairly. That's not new. And people connect this to history because it feels similar. Vulnerable people doing hard labor with little protection. But calling it slavery is a strong statement. Slavery means people are owned and have no freedom. Today, even though exploitation exists, the legal system is very different. Now the third thing people are reacting to is statements about workers on farms or long-term labor situations. What people hear is these workers are controlled. What others argue is these are employment and immigration issues, not slavery. So the truth is, somewhere in the middle, there are really concerns about fairness, wages, and workers' rights. But saying slavery is coming back can be an exaggeration driven by fear. History makes people sensitive to anything that even looks similar.
I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to keep saying it for you dumbasses. I'm going to keep it plain and simple this time. Slavery is still alive in the United States of America. I keep on telling y'all that, and y'all keep on telling me I'm tripping. Now, if it's under this administration or any other administration, it doesn't matter about the people in office. I'm going to tell you what's happening. I just seen a video of some Haitians in the field picking string beans, right? They do this with Haitians, they do this with Mexicans, they do this with South Americans, Central Americans. It doesn't matter. When immigrants come here, they get promised that they will have shelter and they will get paid by the end of the season for working on the fields, plantations, crops, all of that, right? By the end of the season, they used them for everything that they could use them for while giving them the bare minimum, not even minimum wage, just shelter and food and maybe a few dollars a day. By the end of the season, they call immigration services. Immigration services come and get them. They detain them. They have to work while they're detained. These people are working for America while they're detained. After they ship them out from America, a lot of these times, they don't even ship them back to their country. Abrego Garcia just got sent to Africa. He was born in El Salvador. And not only that, they tried to get rid of not only due process, people can't even prove that they're citizens, but they were trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. These are all facts. This is not a conspiracy. This is not something that you can go against. These are facts. And until y'all wake up and stop trying to fight it.
And this push for AI labor in America will make a lot of sense when you realize America has not really progressed or found a way to be more profitable than they were when they didn't have to pay their entire workforce. You guys have to realize we're living in a country that financed itself off the backs of enslaved people. So as soon as they had to pay the working class, it was money being lost in that. And there hasn't been a great recovery since. In fact, many of the institutions that are still making money have done so because they got their start in times of enslavement or no workers' rights. So now on the back end of that, we're now seeing when we did form a workforce, we were trained to be like computers. And now all of that training that we took on, being proficient in Microsoft Excel and all these different computer systems, is now being used to train the computers to do the work that we learned to do to try to mimic them. This is because they've always been trying to return to a free workforce. I'd rather have a computer I don't have to buy and is a one-time purchase, similar to an enslaved person, rather than having a worker that I have to keep on a salary and a payroll. If anything, this model that is new reflects actually the old model and the most dependent on way of doing things in this country. Why would I pay someone when I can dehumanize something and not have to pay it? And when you take into account that they've built a whole government, a whole country, a whole world superpower off of this, they're not going to be quick to run away from it. We can't even get rid of racism. And the reason we can't get rid of certain things is because they're highly profitable. And highly profitable things shape the norms of a society. If you go to societies that weren't built off the backs of slavery, the first thing they will say about Americans is you work too much. Even with pay, we are still enslaved because that is the model by which our country is built on and founded on. Capitalism only works if somebody is being exploited. When you take away the need of somebody and put something is being exploited, it is golden. And now they have furthered us from our own exploitation. So even our grounds and collectivizing around trying to speak out on our exploitation has become that much more complex. Now we have to speak out on environmental racism, the exploitation of natural resources of communities like water, to companies that no longer seek to even hire us or have humans working for them. The AI model is a perfect enslavement model. And in a society that built their entire reality from enslavement and the institutions that were able to continue from it, things like insurance, things that we are financially enslaved to and expected to pay monthly on, had its groundings in the institution that was slavery. So we are still forced to be operatives in the long-lasting shadows from what has built this nation, while not even being entitled to a chance to earn the capital that is necessary to not be criminalized for not being able to afford the expenses of what it now takes to exist in the society without enslavement, all while we're being diminished in our workforce and diminished in our value as human, so they can then come around and then continue and return back to the enslavement of living bodied people, because work and avenues to survival will become so slim that things that we would once consider even enslavement in the modern American society now become something that is appealing, seems justifiable, and actually will be coveted. A few years ago, people might not have jumped at the opportunity to live in a work town where your job is tied to your housing. But 10 years from now, that could be a very appealing thing that people are aspiring to be a part of. People will then want to be in enslavement because they've enslaved now technology that is dwindling our resources and devaluing our own human labor to the point that we seek our own exploitation. And as a Black American, I see this cycle at play, and I can't help but say,
Here's the real question. Are people overreacting because of fear and history? Or are they seeing warning signs that others are ignoring? Because one thing is true, technology, politics, and economics are changing fast. And if you are not paying attention, systems can become unfair without people even realizing it. So I want to hear from you. Do you think this is just social media exaggeration, or is there actually something deeper going on? So drop your thought in the comment. If you want more video like this, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share this video. This is Cherry React. See you in the next video. Bye bye.